You admitted early on that a showmance would be bad for your game, even going as far as dropping seeds about Alyssa as a potential target during Monty's HOH. But during Direfest, you decided to go against the leftovers in order to protect Alyssa. What changed, and why did you get upset with the leftovers for just eventually agreeing with what you had already tried to do during Monty's HOH?
So going into Big Brother, a showmance just brings unnecessary attention to you and possibly a target on your back, because instead of just one number, you're now basically two. Moving forward in the game, my relationship with Alyssa continued to grow and became the number one priority. And at the end of the time in the house, she was the number one priority. So leftovers came second.
After the blow-up argument between Daniel and Nicole versus Taylor, you realized that Taylor could be a final number you needed for the Leftovers Alliance to go against the rest of the house. After witnessing that nearly everybody in the house has ostracized Taylor, what made you eventually decide that all the people of color were working together?
So Taylor is extremely powerful, and I saw that very early on. It's unfortunate that she had to go through those first 3 weeks. She was a key element to the leftovers, and I'm so happy that she was part of it and created such a diverse group of people to work with. Later in the game, I made some generalized thoughts that really had no grounds in the game of Big Brother that are extremely unfortunate. The people in the house all accepted my feelings and thoughts and were so gracious and caring, especially Taylor. And I look forward to continuing my journey after the game and, after jury, and I take full responsibility for that.
When the Pound expanded to form the Leftovers, the four of you still made up the majority of the seven-person alliance. Having the original plan with the four, a final two with Turner, and working relationships with the rest of the group, can you give us more context and or examples of why you felt like you were at the bottom of the Leftovers alliance?
So things can change so much in Big Brother week to week. So Taylor's HOH, when Indy went home, I was left out of multiple conversations about who the target should be that week. It was a major red flag when I was basically the only one standing up for Alyssa when I had the veto. And then Michael didn't choose me for Brochella when he had 4 opportunities to. And I thought Michael and I were very, very close. And so it was a multitude of factors that led me to believe that my spot in the leftovers wasn't as high as I thought. And then moving into Direfest, I knew it was basically me or Joseph going home. And so I was definitely in survival mode. And that's why I came forward with all the information.
When the Leftovers Alliance formed, did you have any intent on going to the final 7 with them, or was creating and turning on alliances part of your strategy? If so, how did you view this as productive for your end goal?
When creating the leftovers, our backs were against the wall. And so it was kind of created out of necessity for all of our games. And I was planning on going to Final 7 with them. Later in the game, I started to realize that a 7-person alliance was big, and I really wanted to play with Alyssa and be honest with her. And so later in the game, I started to realize that it might be more beneficial to break off from the leftovers and start working with Alyssa.
Looking back on all of the moves that you made this season, what are you most proud of and what are you least proud of?
I'm definitely most proud of being in the room and helping to formulate the leftovers and that strategy. That turned out to be an amazing, diverse group of people. And we played a very strong game as an alliance for a large majority of the show thus far. The thing that I'm most, kind of ashamed of are obviously the generalized thoughts and comments that I made. But again, it was a huge learning experience to me. Everyone in the house was so gracious, and I'm excited to continue that journey outside of the house.